Cassidy, who will be on the program at a later date. Lafayette Town Hall meeting tomorrow, 2:30, at the Cecil Picard Center for Child Development. Anyway, it's Duval Court Street. Am I saying it right? Duval Court Street, 200 East Duval Court Street. That's tomorrow. Senator Cass Town Hall meeting. Come and talk, ask him questions. That is tomorrow from 2:30 to 3:45 Central at the Cecil Picard Center for Child Development. They wanted to make sure they did that. All right, let's jump gears. My good friend CB Forgotston. Boy, I tell you what, Elliot, that's a compliment, though.
I tell you what,
I was
so much worse than that I can't even express it.
Yeah, hey, I could have called you Scott Argel, but I didn't.
Well, and that's a long list, by the way, but your point is well made and taken.
Yeah, I got it. I told somebody the other day, let's fast forward 15 years. Let's say I was still here. God knows I might not make it past today, but let's say I am. We'll still be talking about CB Forgotston. There's no doubt in my mind we'll still be talking about CB Forgotston. So when I said that was a compliment to you.
Well, I promise you, I don't know that I'll make it either, but good Lord willing and the creek don't rise, you're absolutely right. We will be talking about CB.
Yeah,
and the tone of those comments will be, remember how much better it was when we had somebody who could explain this stuff to us, because we know it's not being explained to us.
No, the lie. Look, let me tell you something. I hate to say it like this, because you can't say all. There's a lot of politicians. They're not happy he's dead. I'm not going to go that far, but I'll go this. They're happy he's not around anymore, that he could do what he did, which was, by the way, trying to work for the state of Louisiana. I do want you to talk, and we're going to talk about the state and where we're headed. But I do want to visit a little bit about CB. I told Brandon I came walking in the studio. He comes running out there to get me. I was going through my daily routine and trying to eat something. Anyway, so he comes running to get me. I said, it's Elliott Stonecipher. He said, I know. You come on. I said, you don't need me. I said, pretend it's Bobby Jindal. Ask him one question and that'll eat the hour up. And by the way, you're not that bad, but I just said, pretend it's Bobby.
I don't take exception to most of those kinds of labels. That one's a little bit offensive, but I understand.
Calling you CB, I put you on the highest of mountains. Calling you Bobby Jindal, I just ripped your heart out.
Fame is fleeting, man.
Look, man, I told people the way I get through things in life is learn to laugh, and it's a better day today than it was yesterday. And the sun's gonna come up, and that's what that's the good and bad of life. You go through a tough time, and boy, Monday was tough, and every day's gotten better. And
Sunday and Monday are a couple of the toughest that I've had, and I thank goodness that I did manage to get a piece written, which an awful lot of people have already seen up in various places, my Facebook page included, and the point of it was explaining to people in context what it meant to us, not to mention his friends, to the state of Louisiana, us, that CB Forgotston was around. And all that being said, even with all of the messages I got thanking me for the piece yesterday and the original post I put up on Facebook on Sunday, you can't begin to explain to just plain folks in Louisiana, which almost all of us really are. You can't explain what it was CB was doing and why he was so unique. But I'll say it in a simple way just to get the conversation rolling. Who else did we know, whether it was newspaper media, television media, whether it was all of the radio shows, particularly yours, where he got the most airtime, of course, were it not for CB Forgotston, we would not know what government is deliberately not telling us. That's the point here. This is someone who, and by the way, let me throw this one out.
And by the way, the state trooper, Colonel Edmondson, who heads up the state trooper, he would have his $55,000 pay raise increase per year when he retires if CB wasn't around. By the way, I look for that. I look for him to get that because that'll pass most of us. And I look for him to go back and get that now. But I'm sure he's saying, wow, I might can get my pay raise now, my retirement.
Well, and there again, that's a long list of people who benefit from tax money that we never know are getting the tax money. And that means we never know even today with traditional media. What we have to remember about CB is the uniqueness of the talent. First, he spent decades inside learning Louisiana government. he was a go-to person.
By the way, for a lot of people behind the scenes that nobody ever knew.
That's right. And I met CB when Buddy Romer was governor. It was a very, very dark time, especially fiscally for Louisiana. Oil patch had dried up just before Buddy was elected. And we're down there. Edwin Edwards has moved the governor's office effectively down Highland Road in Baton Rouge, and he's down there governing from exile. Here you have a whole team of people who really just want to get it rolling. You couldn't get good information.
No.
You couldn't find out exactly what needed to be done because a lot of people inside government and the news media didn't want the information out. CB is the one who, even in that situation and honoring everything about his employment, he still was who we went to for facts.
Yep.
You got them unadulterated.
Yep.
Fast forward 30 years, what is CB Forgotston doing? On his own nickel, his whole time of life, what he does as his work, an avocation we can call it, is the same thing he always did, telling those of us who otherwise will never be able to find out what it is we need to know. So, those who are pleased that that is not a pressure they are any longer under are the ones that we should pay special attention to.
Sure.
Of all the messages, all the Facebook comments, all the emails, all the phone calls, I have not heard since CB's death Sunday morning from a single elected official.
I can believe that. I can believe. Well,
now I will say this: John Kennedy, I did not speak with, but he is out there saying exactly the same thing.
Yeah, but now he was on the program Monday. He called in and I'm gonna be honest with you for 30 minutes, and I'm gonna say bailed me out because I was out and I did the best I could with what I could do. That Monday's program was a 2-hour program that felt like 2 months.
Yeah,
I couldn't even. Brandon sat there. Brandon had to sit there. I came in. Brandon said, "You all right?" I said, "Man, I'm all right. Let's go." Hey, welcome to the program. And boom, when I started, I was done. And that's the one situation I have problems with. Always have.
Well,
the one.
I just want everybody to know, John Kennedy, by the way, was also a part of that Romer administration who was trying to dig out from under. He knew CB then as well. And I've had these conversations with John Kennedy. The point is this. There are a handful of us that the public knows about who try to do two things. Number one, get the facts. Number two, get them to the just plain folks that our government kicks us around all day, every day. Get the facts, deliver the facts. As you know, the facts are what is really, really the problem for these elected officials and others that are on the other side.
Can I use another word? And you might not like it. The facts may be the proper word. How about the truth?
Yes.
The truth. They hate the truth. They hate the truth. They hate it with a passion.
They are, facts are just damnable things if you're in the cover-up business. So let's remember, that's what this is about. It didn't matter whether it was Edwin Edwards. It didn't matter whether it was Bobby Jindal.
No, it didn't.
Government is about not telling us what they are doing to us. What did CB do? He told us what they were doing to us. And he explained it in detail. By the way, all these people who try to write him off as a quote-unquote blogger, that's the new politician's charge against anybody who does this work. Just dismiss them. They're bloggers. Look, I don't know where that comes. By the way, I don't have a blog. You don't have a blog either. We have email now. We have a lot of things technologically.
I've been termed as just an entertainer, and I thought to myself, you know what? That's good. Entertaining you while you get the truth. And by the way, I want to go back to something you said about CB talking to plain folks and just keeping it simple. That's the only way I could have ever matched up with CB. He had to keep it simple for me as I tried to grow my program, and of course he was a big part. But you're a big part, and Kennedy's a big part, and my audience is an unbelievably big part, and my radio stations. I mean, all I ever try to do is the truth. I can't help it. People get mad, and I get mad too. Elliot, you do too.
Yes. But look, let's set the stage though for what it is that they're now, of course, waiting for a chance to say about CB.
I know
the services, by the way, will be Friday morning, and I've put that information up and a link to.
Yeah, I've been letting them know 9. It's
9 o'clock visitation.
Holy Ghost Church, correct? Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Okay.
And again, the visitation is
9 to 11.
9 to 11, and then straight into the service.
Yeah, it's going to be all right there in one place.
Right.
And I'm going to be there by 9, so I will be there to see.
Oh, yeah, I will too.
Hey, Elliot, let's do this. Hold your thought. Let me take this break so that way you don't have to rush, and we'll get back. Elliott Stonecipher will be with us the whole hour. He's on the Hickson Has It hotline. We're talking about CB. We're going to get into what this administration and what's coming down the pipe. We can accept it and fight it, or we can just accept it and lay down or bend over, whatever one you like to do. We'll take a break. Be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Elliott Stonecipher, my special guest. He's a demographer, and, of course, you will hear a lot more from Elliot through the weeks and months and hopefully years to come. As we like you said, we can't ever fill CB's void. They're going to try to hit him up with all kind of stuff. I just hope they don't do it to me, especially in my state of mind right now, because I tell you, I had a text from what I thought was a good friend, and I just can't believe the comments. Cannot believe. But anyway, Elliot, you wanted to say something, and I don't want to lose your train of thought there.
Well, I just want to be sure we keep in context what those of us who have worked in government, in politics, in this state for so many years, what we understand about what CB was doing, and by the way, doing very uniquely, because unlike bloggers broadly, unlike commentators broadly who never knew anything particularly about state government, the legislature, any of that, CB was the person that everybody went to who could. He was how you got the facts to get to the truth. Many, many, many will try to and have all along, of course, attacked CB, John, me, you, any of us who are doing everything we can to tell the people of Louisiana what they are very, very certainly otherwise never going to hear. This is what this is all about. Facts and truth, and the people who are in power don't want us to have that information. And let's remember, Bobby Jindal, a supposed reform governor, went so far as to get the legislature to pass easily, which he signed, laws which said things as obviously corrupt in terms of process, of course, as you, the citizen, cannot get details of the budget until 6 months after the legislature completes the budget. Now, that became a Louisiana law. We're told that John Bel Edwards is changing that. The legislature's going to help him. They're going to make it a little less onerous, et cetera, et cetera.
I'll take that bet they won't. I put all the money you want to put down. That's not happening.
Right. Here's another example. And I'm talking about things that are just so patently, absolutely damaging to the taxpayers, to we the people. I'm not talking about little stuff. I'm talking about big and obvious stuff. Then we have ethics reform, where Bobby Jindal made sure that you can no longer really get anybody on any kind of ethics law. He killed enforcement.
Sure.
It was the legislature who made sure he could. So you have a huge ethics regime, all kinds of rules and regulations, which he added to greatly. But the governor controls the person who picks the adjudicators. The process is totally now political. It was not before. All right? You and I know that I spent 5 years trying to get the media to tell the truth about what he did with ethics reform.
Yep.
They wouldn't do it. Okay? This new thing about 6 months before you can find out what the budget that's already been approved was approved, the Louisiana Press Association signed off on that in negotiations, you can call it, that the public never knew about.
Wow. So
let's go to the bigger picture then. Here's what CB was doing, and this is why it was so incredibly rare. He was very, very simply trying to smoke politicians out and get them to tell us, look, Louisiana's in a lot of trouble. It's continuing its decline. And in case y'all wonder about whether that's true or not, I'm just going to give you the facts. That's the thing about the people that are saying the awful stuff right now about CB. What they're really saying is, we don't want people to know the facts. How in the world are we going to keep getting ours if the people in Louisiana figure this whole thing out?
Good point.
So what kind of facts are out there that are hard for them to make go away? Here's the question. This is the best one I know of. Since, the early 1980s, Louisiana has out-migrated net 600,000 people.
Yeah.
Here's the fact. That means people outside of Louisiana for over 30 years don't want to move here. Why didn't anybody want to move here? In the latest data, 7,400 people who lived here left in the past year. So it's continuing. But what is the government going to tell us? Yeah, but don't worry about it because we had 8,273 foreign immigrants who took their place. Now, there's the Louisiana story.
Yeah.
The people who leave are taxpayers. By the way, they're pretty young, and they also are highly educated.
And they're probably going to have some babies, which would make the state grow a little bit.
So that's been going on for over 30 years. We're now at 600,000 net we have lost. What is it the government is afraid people are going to learn? The government's afraid people are going to figure out that Louisiana is in the business of chasing people who contribute out of here. That's what's going on.
And by the way, we're really going to see that in a special session.
Exactly.
And
raising taxes will make sure that doesn't just continue, but worsens.
Yeah, and what we're going to do when we get back, Elliot, because we'll get ready to take another break, is I want to go there. I want to talk about the session, special session, what's coming. You made a great comparison off there talking about what's happening in West Virginia. They don't have to buy and they don't have to believe me, but it's coming, and when it does, they're going to go, I wonder how it happened. And actually, the people let it happen by the votes they made. Elliott Stonecipher, my special guest. We'll take a break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hi, hello. Welcome back, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. Mellow Joe Coffee is the official coffee of the Moon Griffon Show. I know. You want me to kiss me? She said, kiss the moon, so I thought she was talking about. Maybe that's not what she was talking about. I'm treated so nice up here. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline.
What he fails to mention, though, is he starts most of those.
Shut up. Hickson has a hotline only with people I run across. All right, Elliot, if I don't run across you today, I won't start nothing. All righty, Elliott Stonecipher. Elliot, we got a new governor. The people voted for it, and they did what they wanted to do. You don't have to go through the whole process of how the press and everybody hated Vitta, and they made it, and what Angel did behind the scenes, that ought to eliminate him from ever being win, and what Darden did, and the press did, and all of it was about one issue, and then we had the honor code running, and we're getting ready to see. Colonel Manis made a good point. He said he believes that Bill Edwards, Governor-elect Bill Edwards, will use the honor code. He's going to do everything he said, and it's all going to be on the liberal side. He's going to give 100% effort to it. But you've been watching this, and you're watching the same thing I am. I don't think the people realize the amount of taxes that are going to come on us, because $800 million in the hole for the end of this year, which is June 30th, $2 billion next year. And our good friend CB said it's going to be $3 billion plus in new taxes. I don't think he misses it by $1.
Well, I'm not sure. I talked to him the last time we spoke. It was specifically on that subject, and others, personal ones, of course, too. But the point really about the call was that. How big do we believe this budget hole is? What do we do with it? And I just want to mention from the top, I am perfectly willing to watch the governor and his team, along with everybody else. We'll have to parse it, judge it along the way. I do know this, though. My fear, based on history, that is, based on facts, not based on ideology, my fear is we're about to see the Obama-Rahm Emanuel playbook put in place.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Playbook.
What is that? Because that's big.
Never waste a crisis.
Yeah, good point.
Now, what were they saying? They were saying we want to spend $1 trillion in so-called stimulus to make sure that all of the grassroots parts of their political party are taken care of. That's what never waste a crisis meant. I want to be sure that we're not watching that as this unfolds very, very soon in the special session that'll be here in just a matter of a few weeks. I want to see, are we talking about handling a short-term problem budgetarily in Louisiana that we believe will get better as the economy improves? That includes, obviously, the price of oil and gas, but it is not exclusively that. The economy needs to improve in a lot of ways. It's been ratcheting down in segments for a good period of time now. And by the way, Louisiana's in a different place than the rest of the country now with all of that. The rest of the country may catch up with us. But Louisiana is going to be hurt as much by the decline in the price of a barrel of oil as anywhere except maybe we will see later on some place that is new to that business like North Dakota. Doesn't matter. For right now, the point is this. If we really want to fix a short-term problem, let's listen to some code words. Will we hear temporary? Will we hear sunset? Here's what those words mean. We're going to have to raise some taxes here in the short haul because the can that has been being kicked down the road for 8 years is not real. That can was a phantom. And as it got kicked down the road, we were running up a huge structural deficit. Okay? Are we going to put in temporary tax increases to revisit in 24 months?
Absolutely. I expect that because that's normally what they do. They did that. Listen, we got history. Last session, temporary taxes, 800 million of them, except for the cigarette tax. Think about that. My point
in structural changes like state income tax increases is, will they talk about the fact that we want to put in this law, in this change, in this structural shift, a guarantee to the taxpayers, we don't intend for this to be a permanent tax increase. We want to take care of what's happening to us right now, whether that's $1.5 billion or $3 billion. We want to take care of that. But we want to make sure the people know that everything we're doing that's going to take more of their money it has basically a clock ticking. At the end of 2 years, that particular tax increase disappears. Maybe some other ones are sunset. They go away automatically in 5 years. Or are we going to hear broad tax increase discussions that don't sound at all like they're temporary? Is this crisis going to be used to simply put back in place what any Democratic governor would have, what any member of the Mary Landrieu School of Politics would have? Is that what this is going to be? Are they going to use John Bell Edwards' 4 years to simply take us back to all of that? Because if they do, I hope they're honest with us the rest of the way. If they're honest with us the rest of the way, they're going to say, yes, we're going back to the way it was. We're going back to the way Democrats do this. And we know that means if you are a taxpayer in Louisiana, it's going to be a bad deal for you going forward. Now, if you're not a taxpayer, it's going to be a good deal for you going forward. If John Bell Edwards wants to take to the lectern and make that speech to me and the rest of the state, I will give him all the credit in the world for being a Democrat. I will not give him credit for solving the problem, because when they take us there, when they take us back to that part of our history, that many more retiring boomers are going to leave here.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to what you said. The number of people that have left this state, you're going to hammer the people that have jobs. Hammering them. And that's what's going to happen. They're going to hammer the people and the businesses that are here. And then they're going to go, well, my God, I wonder why things ain't getting better. You got plenty of money for government, but Moon can't pay his house note. I mean, that's where you're headed at.
Let's take it the final step. What everybody in that process in state government wants to hear next from me and you is, all right, Elliot, what's your solution? It's very simple. We need to make structural changes in the tax structure, particularly of Louisiana. What does that mean? That means you're going to have to do things like consolidate colleges.
Oh, yeah, but they don't want to hear that.
I know. Now, let's just hold that thought. That's my point. They don't want to hear it. Who is they? They are the people who are running more colleges and universities in the state of Louisiana, and I'm picking on them now. I can go many other places. They want things to stay the way they are in their hometown. I'm in Shreveport. Should North Louisiana, which has more trouble growing its population than any other part of Louisiana, should we have Shreveport's LSUS and Southern just not far from Northwestern and even closer to Grambling, and then very close to Louisiana Tech, 30 miles away from ULM? Mm-hmm. Is that what North Louisiana needs? It's not about need. The answer is no. So who is going to give up their school? First of all, nobody has to give up a school, but you do have to greatly consolidate the ones we have.
Absolutely.
Someday, those buildings even are going to have to come down.
But Ellie, we went further. When we went to the community college under Mike Foster, I can go back and pull the quotes. There would be no bricks and mortar. None. But they knew once they got it going that people were going to want their own little school. And
exactly.
That became a totally new bureaucracy. I'm not saying that we didn't need community colleges, but I think it becomes a new bureaucracy.
Well, and your point is well made again. The point is they didn't tell us the truth. That's my whole point. It was CB's whole point. Tell you what, ladies and gentlemen in politics in Louisiana, listen to us. Here's what we're saying. Tell us the truth.
Yep, good point. And that's what
I need to be able to decide how to live my life for me and my family. Tell us the truth.
Yeah.
If Louisiana is all about serving the existing special interests, even as the state rolls over and begins losing population net every year, not just migrants, population. Only West Virginia in America loses population every year. Yeah. If they want to say, look, we're going to govern from now on and tax from now on for ourselves. Okay. Who is selves?
Yeah, hold your thought.
It's politicians.
Yeah, hold your thought. Good point. We'll take a break. One more segment with Elliot Stonecipher. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. Last segment of the day, we do want to mention that Mellow Joy Coffee is the official coffee of the Moon Griffon Show, and we love Mellow Joy. 1-866-MELLOW-JOY, mellowjoy.com. Great taste of Mellow Joy. Elliot Stonecipher, my special. Yes, Elliot. Elliot, I would like to have a lot of hope, and I know you got to let the governor get in there and do his thing. I came across this committee of 100, revamp the tax structure, but if I notice and you read it, and there will be many people come out, it's all to do one thing, create more money for government. When I think about tax structure, I think of making it better for people to keep more of their money and maybe spread the base out to where you have more people paying in the tax structure where government may eventually get some more money. But the bottom line has to be so parents can feed their children and do all the things that they need to do. The tax structure for committee of 100, and I'm throwing something, unify state local sales tax collection, eliminate sales tax exemption on services. Eliminate the state income tax deductions. That means people that deduct. And by the way, the people that deduct off the federal taxes paid are people that make a living. They actually have an income. Flatten corporate income tax brackets, single rate at 5%, repeal the inventory tax and inventory tax credit, increase the gas and diesel tax index to inflation, which, by the way, I heard they're going to have the votes for that. That means when inflation goes up, with all this borrowing of money, inflation is going to skyrocket one day, and when it does, the tax on gas skyrockets with it.
Right.
So, I mean, all those things sound, and when you really get down to detail of this group or any other group, it's all about helping government. It's all about making government bigger. It's not about helping families. Sorry, this doesn't help a family.
Look, government is what Louisiana grows. Louisiana doesn't grow crops. Louisiana's not growing its natural resources. Louisiana grows government. That's all it does. That's why it is not competitive. It hasn't been for a long time, and it's not going to be if we're simply going to take, by the way, the Republican Party, supposedly anti-tax, runs the legislative branch of government in Louisiana. We can already tell they have pretty much sold out to John Bell Edwards.
They've sold out big time. You're going to watch.
Exactly. So what they're now in the business of doing is providing political cover for who? What? For John Bel Edwards, for Democrats, for those who want to take the money of the relatively fewer taxpayers we have and give it to those that they want to have money. Remember, they're not trying to grow the economy.
Hey, let me give a quote real quick. Okay? Republican Senator Mike Wadsworth and Republican Senator-elect Jim Big Lake Fannin, who was one of the biggest problems, who changed the Republican Party to win and the people food again. Senator Wadsworth, big Republican, old clutch. By the way, he says we have to find a balance of cuts and raising revenue and common ground on where to move further. He don't have a clue for one thing, but number two is cuts and raising revenue. How much you want to bet the cuts don't equal to raising revenue? How much you want to bet the raising revenue is way more than what little cuts they're going to make?
Of course. And look, we can say it, and we'll give John Bel Edwards all the time, of course, so we can put details in this conversation, but I know how it's going to end up as well as you do. Here's what we're saying. We're saying that in Louisiana, it doesn't really matter if you end up with big majorities of supposed conservatives, Republicans, tax cutters in the legislature. In Louisiana, none of that works. What Louisiana does is stick with its existing constitutionally mandated tax structure, which guarantees that only government grows. It will continue to out-migrate taxpayers as it in-migrates undocumented workers. We are going to turn Louisiana back into what it was in its political heyday, which is any decade you want to pick, going back as far as you want to go. Louisiana has simply run out of time. We're to the point now, and the population losses have been such, and the demographic changes have been such, that either Louisiana does a quick turn, and if it has to raise taxes, it's only a temporary tax, sunsets in 2 years or whatever it is, if you have to do it at all. Either you do that, or, and here comes the part that'll get all the politicians really foaming at the mouth, you're simply riding it down. We need to think about what I just said. We are riding it down. Where is anything in this public policy discussion that says, here's how we're going to grow Louisiana's economy out of this rollover that we're headed for?
Nobody's talking about doing it, because the first thing they're doing is they're talking about how to get more money from businesses, how to get more money from people. So that's not growing a bit. Elliot, if I come take part of your money from you, you're not growing as a person or a family. You're going to have less. You're going to do less. You had to give it up. There's no way to grow companies if they're taking more money out of it.
So what do people do? People either decide, okay, just like the federal government, the state government, the local government, and I'm sitting up here where this is a really, really critical discussion, because Shreveport has 3 times the property taxes of any other average place in Louisiana. So I'm in tax raise capital up here. We know what this looks like. It has killed Shreveport's ability to grow its economy. Look, it's not any kind of debate. The things that we're discussing, Moon, are just economic facts. It's what happens when a place commits to tax people as necessary to keep government growing.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. Yeah. If you want government to be your number one crop that you're then going to try to go sell somewhere, I got news for you. There's no market for it. Government's out of control. Government grows when nothing else does, including income. How did America end up with an $18 trillion debt, by the way?
It'd be 20
the
when
very
the
process
leaves.
We're discussing.
Yep, absolutely. One of the things you said is kind of sad when you mentioned, what, it's going to be a part-time tax? It's going to be a tax that expires in 5 years. You know what Stelly was? Stelly was a part-time tax on food and utilities for 1 year that turned into a part-time tax they had to vote on every year or two for 17 years that turned into a big income tax increase for anybody who itemized or was making a living.
Right.
That's what it turned into. That's what a part-time tax can do. Then they come back and say, that's the worst thing we did. The other thing they did was they said it was $800 million to $1 billion of revenue per year we lost. I don't ever remember anywhere near numbers being thrown out like that. So the Stelly bill was a lie. We didn't have a governor. We didn't have a Republican Party at the time, and they passed it. And everybody thought it was great because it took money out of people's pockets. They were calling people filthy rich if you made 80 as a joint filer or 40 as a single filer. Mike Foster called me a rich man if you make over $80,000. Vic Stelly in a debate said, I said, Vic, what do you consider middle class? Vic Stelly in a debate said $35,000, $40,000. And I thought, holy cow, what rock did they, and people wrote that and thought it was awesome.
Hey, remember, the news media supported it totally.
Oh, 100%.
They're about to start supporting this again.
Oh, they
Everybody in a state district, state house district that comes home, every one of them is going to say why it's a good thing. The colleges and universities are going to tell us why all of this is a good thing. Why did CB Forgotston matter? Because he's a guy who understood this stuff from the inside.
Yep.
He knew what was really happening. Why would the news media oppose CB Forgotston as it opposes me, you, John Kennedy? Why do they do that? Because they're in on the deal.
Yep.
So here's my question. How hard is it to identify this huge number of people in public policy in Louisiana who are in on the deal when there's not a CB Forgotston?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to do it, man?
Yep.
So what they really are saying when they make these comments, and I've heard them too, and they are etched in my memory about CB, what they're really saying is, look, we used to control the news media. They were in on the deal with us. These dadgum people, bloggers, as if that's a venereal disease.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a blogger, but, that's how they say it. These guys are all of a sudden telling the people the truth again.
Yeah.
We didn't intend for that to happen.
No, I agree. Elliot, God bless you. We're going to miss him. I'll probably see you Friday, though.
Yes, sir.
Thank
you, man.
We'll do it many, many times, folks. God bless. Have an awesome day. We'll see you tomorrow on Friday Eve.